How's it going, everyone? I have a pretty interesting question for you, and it's one that you might have an answer to, you might not, and honestly, I invite you guys to share your answer to it because I want to know what other people are thinking. What is the role of the player in Deltarune? I know that that is a pretty broad question, but I think it's one worth answering. You see, in Undertale, it was very clear by the end of the game that the person who was in control of Frisk, the player, was not the player in terms of us. It was Chara, or Kara, however you want to pronounce it. And what I'm wondering is, what role does the person controlling Chris play in the story of Deltarune? Because the evidence would suggest that it's not a separate character. At least, we don't think it is, like it was in Undertale, but that it's literally us. That it is our real-world self controlling the character of Chris. And I can't help but wonder, how did we come to connect to Chris? How did we connect to the world of Deltarune? And what is our motive? What is our reason for controlling Chris? And I specifically wonder this for both routes in the game, but specifically I wonder this for the Snowgrave route, because when you look at Undertale and you look at the genocide route, it is very clear that Chara is a genocidal maniac who has an express interest in killing and seeing pain and just seeing what would happen by doing different things with violence and hate. But in Deltarune, if it truly is the player, is it a test of our morality as human beings? Is it truly putting us in a game now where it is saying no more excuses? If you do something bad, that's on you. And I think that is the purpose of this story, aside from the, whatever the ending may be. Toby Fox, I think he had a quote that was something along the lines of, there's something that's bigger than the ending in terms of Deltarune. And I truly do think that it's going to try and hit us in the feels, especially if we chose to go the route of Snowgrave. It's very clear that these are characters who are being deeply affected by the Snowgrave route. Characters who are being hospitalized or traumatized, and if you count the Darkners, outright killed in many cases. And so I wonder if we're going to get to the end of the game and it truly will end the same way, because Toby is saying there's only one ending to the game. Now, in true Toby Fox fashion, that does come with a question mark, because let's be honest, he likes to keep us in the darker yet darker in terms of theory crafting. But I truly do wonder if Snowgrave is as complex as it is because Toby wants us to go to the greatest length to uncover every secret and do every inhumane possible task just to get to the end of the game, and for the ending to look us in the face and say, wow, you went to such an extent to be a horrible, horrible person. You were given many, many choices and attempts to abort the route that you were on, to avoid it, to fix your mistakes, and you failed every single one of them. There's a little jingle that plays when you're progressing the weird route and when you're aborting it. And I think that that's kind of the game wiping the sweat off its forehead and saying, okay, this player actually has some morals about them. And I'll take it a little bit deeper. When Deltarune was first revealed, it was revealed as Survey Program, which was potentially distributed by the former royal scientist of Undertale's universe, W.D. Gaster. And I have a bit of a theory about what this survey was testing. Because the point of a survey, especially in scientific testing, is you're trying to gather data and information on a topic which you're looking to research. Now, there's many theories about characters like Gaster and Sans and how aware they are of timelines and saving and determination and, the ability to reset the world. There's hints about knowledge of those phenomena in the universe of Undertale and I guess by extension Deltarune. I think Survey Program was meant to be a message, like sending a radio signal out into space. Survey Program was meant to be a research study that aimed to study the forces which control saving, loading, resetting, and the overall path of the game. So Gaster, from, beyond the world, wherever he may be, he sent out this survey program, and his express goal was, I want to figure out exactly who is controlling us in this world, how they make their decisions, what they base their morality off of, and just make observations. A naturalistic study where the participant doesn't even fully know that they're participating in a study, despite the fact that it's very clearly labeled as a survey program. And I think that Snowgrave is the variable being tested, where the study is looking at how many opportunities to make the right decision have to be presented to the participant before they finally take the game up on making the good decision. Now, obviously, there's going to be many, many results to this study which say they're never going to take the good option. There are people who are actively seeking out the worst option and being malicious purposefully. They want to hurt the world. They want to hurt the characters. And I think that will be the most significant finding from the study. Now, do I think that Toby Fox at the end of, Deltarune's development is going to reveal a whole peer-reviewed research paper where he details the morality of video game players and put it up on a database? Maybe he will. I don't know. I don't know him to have had that sort of interest. And yet, the fact that it's clearly briefing us on the fact that it's a survey program, the fact that there's so many different measurables involved here, that in both Undertale and Deltarune, there's number values for, monsters being killed and how many people have, or how many different points you can reverse the weird route. Now, the reason that I don't truly think that he's going to go ahead and reveal, like, hey guys, I've been collecting data, is because these games have been data mined and dumped, and something like that was tracking our decisions and all sorts of stuff most likely would have been found by now, and to my knowledge, it has not. There's been nothing found like that in the files of the game. But I do think that we are going to get to the end of the game, and those who are doing a Snowgrave route are going to come face to face with their morality and be told that you did all of that and you went out of your way to be a bad person for the same ending that everyone else got. But I think that ending will have some key differences where, let's say for example, the game ends with the sealing of the grand fountain in Castletown. I think that there will likely be an ending where that fountain is sealed, and yet there is some way for the Darkners to move on to the real world, to the light world, and live on in some way, shape, or form. But let's say that you're only able to do that if you didn't do the Snowgrave route, because obviously, if you do the Snowgrave route, I believe it's impossible to get every single recruit into Castletown, because you obviously need to ice shock a lot of them, or whatever the spell is called that Noelle uses before Snowgrave. And so let's say that 100% recruitment, or at the very least, 100% not killing anyone is needed for the same ending, but a happier version of it. I can see that happening, where the same events, unfold, but obviously we'd be happier with one version as opposed to the other. I think that's 100% possible. Now, looking over at how Genocide ends in Undertale, Genocide taints your save file. When you end a Genocide route, it completely ruins your entire save file, unless I think you reset your user data on Steam or whatever the equivalent is for the other consoles. If you beat Sans and you finish a Genocide run and you go to the file screen and you reset the game, even if you do a pacifist run, after the credits roll, you will get a reveal that Chara is present and in control, and it's followed by an image of all the main characters with X's on their face. So I ask this question: what effect will the Snowgrave route have on the other save files? I think we're already getting a hint towards this, and I think it is on the file select screen when you copy and paste the save file, or rather you create 3, and the narrator, who's presumed to be Gaster, says preparations complete. Now, that to me says that there will be some shenanigans involving the save files going on later in the game, and I do believe that it will be tied to Snowgrave. Now, me personally, I think that it'll be tied to the different weapons that we'll likely be able to make with the shadow crystals, but that's besides the point. Back to the player. I really don't yet fully understand, and even though I'm willing to make this video, I'm also willing to ask the community for help on this in discussing who are we in this world of Deltarune, and what is our purpose in the world? Are we just participants of some twisted research study being performed by the royal scientist of Undertale, W.D. Gaster, or is this some morality test being conducted by Toby Fox himself? I'm really looking forward to seeing what people think, because this is just something that I've been mulling over for a while, and I don't know. I am kind of excited to see, if this video reaches a lot of people. I'd love to see what people think. I know that my videos haven't thus far reached the extent of an audience that I would like my videos to reach. And honestly, if I could choose any of my videos to randomly blow up and reach a bunch of people to get a discussion started, this would be the one, because I would love to talk with people about this subject.